control, shoveling dirt in every hole. Predators to condemn your soul, watching you and watching me. We're all connected but separated, misunderstood and so frustrated. A million armies of one have invaded, watching you and watching me. We live behind glass curtains and act like nothing's wrong. Soon you will belong. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. Wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. The little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye, we're the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. We the people have taken over. We the people are little brother, standing by to dethrone each other, watching you and watching me. Paranoid, the lens is our weapon, desensitized in our lust for attention, democratized by our voyeur obsessions, watching you and watching me. Slaves to perfection, don't let them project you as you are. Reveal your every flaw. I know you're out there somewhere. We've watched you for so long. Wait for you to fall. We'll expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Little brother wants to make headlines, be immortalized. Everyone's got an electric eye, we're the digital spies. They've watched you for so long. I know you're out there somewhere watching me. Stay in line, don't make a mistake. We're watching. We watched you for so long. We wait for you to fall. We will expose you all. I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
outdoor experience begin right now. From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio. You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. You can follow us on Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride as we are live on Spaced Out Radio.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Said the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Space Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you along for the ride wherever you are on this great planet we call Earth. Yes, we are live right here in Uncle Jimbo's cabin, right here in the Great White North on this Friday night, early Saturday morning if you're on the East Coast. We welcome you to tonight's show. If you're listening in at spacedoutradio.com, on Spreaker, on Revolution Radio, and of course, if you are listening on the High Plains Talk Radio Network as well. We do this thing every night of the week as we rock in and out with the guitar god himself, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses and currently of Art of Anarchy. Why? I always get that one mixed up. But Mr. Bumblefoot is the official sound of Spaced Out Radio. It's always good to have him rocking us in and out of every single show. Hey, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter, @SpacedOutRadio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, I can be followed at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download this show and others on iTunes. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. While there, you can do me a favor, and you can hang out for a little bit. Check out our plethora of features on the website. And if you want to take part in this show, you have to sign in to one of our chat rooms, either on Revolution Radio, on Spreaker, on the United Public Radio chat room, and on Facebook at the SOR Space Travelers Club. Or, if you're on Twitter, just go to hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I will get to your questions and comments in there as well. Hey, have you signed up for the SOR Space Travelers Club yet? Well, tonight is draw night, so you're late for tonight. But you can enter for the next draw, which will be January 27th of 2017. Because for $5 a month, we put your name into a monthly prize draw. And we continue on to make this show happen with really cool features for you that we are offering with our Space Travelers membership. If you're also on our website, you can read up on my latest blog. Check out Eric Markham's SOR Space Wire for your latest weird news. And if you've had a sighting that you cannot explain, do me a favor. Fill out an SOR Sightlines report. The reason why I want you to do that is because we have Mike Schmidt, our resident researcher, investigator. He wants something to report. We need him to be busy for you. So fill out an SOR Sightlines report, and we will get to him ASAP. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on the United Public Radio Network, live on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Good to have you along for the ride. Always appreciate you taking the time to Tune in on the mighty SOR. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Do us a favor. Visit freedomslips.com and donate today. Tonight is the final show of 2016 for Spaced Out Radio, as we've given James and Elizabeth the night off tomorrow to party it up and then recover from the New Year's Eve festivities on the 1st. And when we end the year on a Friday night, which means that we're going to finish it off with a bang, it is the year that was on SOR's Paranormal Roundtable. We do it the final Friday of every month. Now, I don't know how paranormal this is actually going to be, but we're going to have some fun. Tonight I'm joined by the quadruple beards of Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, Eric Markham from the SOR Spacewire, Everett Thiemer, paranormal journalist, James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend, and of course two beautiful ladies, Mrs. SOR, Jolene. We're popping her cherry on the radio tonight for a full show.
Woohoo!
And Spaced Out Weekend host Elizabeth Anglin. Tonight, we will also be making our monthly prize draw to give one lucky SOR space traveler a winning prize. Winning prize. Yes, we want to give that away. We will do that at the top of hour number 3. We bring in the panel right now for a plethora of topics tonight. Everyone, welcome into the show. How are you all doing?
Very well.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody. And James, I'm going to start off with you because, you know, this year we made a multitude of changes in Spaced Out Radio Land. You were a big part of that. Elizabeth was a big part of that for the weekend. What is your finest memory of Spaced Out Radio and the changes we made in 2016?
Oh, goodness me. I pretty well waterproofed most of my studio here because of the amount of tea I spilled on everything. And other than that, I think coming on to the United Public Radio Network was a lot of fun. And we opened it up to a lot of new listeners that have been very interactive with what's going on.
I fully agree. I think for us, me in general, man, it was probably the fact that, you know, we moved the show from 2 hours to 3 hours at the request of our audience. We had Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL come on in and allow us to use his music in a nice little friendly contract for us as the official music of this show. And I don't hear too many shows, even the big name shows out there, that have the quality of music that we do. And James, I'm a firm believer that, you know, the sound and the bumper music that we kind of put around the show really, really improved what we sound like on a nightly basis.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think of that. Yeah, it was Ron's come on in 2016, hasn't he? So, see, everything just blurs after you get to my age, Dave. You just wait.
Well, you know what? Not many people get that old, James.
I've read that in the washroom. That was your handwriting, too.
All right.
You know, yeah, Ron's music is something that we get a lot of very, very positive comments on, and some of the interactions we have, we actually get Ron dropping in and kind of saying hi every so often. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. And you know what else I really like about that? And I want to thank Bumblefoot for this. And James, I know you've had listeners who have had it happen, and I've had listeners who've had it happen. But, you know, we've had a plethora of listeners, and we're going to use the word plethora a lot tonight. But we have had a plethora of listeners who have messaged Ron and said, you know, we heard your music on Spaced Out Radio. You're an amazing musician and everything. And, you know, there's no ego in the man. You expect a rock star to have some ego. There is no ego in the man. And he has actually taken the time to say thank you to our listeners for listening to his music. I think that's pretty stellar, man.
Oh, yeah. I love the guy. You know, a lot of the stuff that I've seen him do is all supporting youth and the young musicians that have a talent and giving them a platform and access to experienced professional musicians for all I'm not going to call it secret tips because they're just tips they'd never get probably from their high school music teacher. And these kids are unbelievable. And he travels literally to the weirdest corners of the earth to have these schools. Like I think he was in Tibet at one point doing one, and a couple of places over in Greece or Italy. It was just, little small places and just packed with these kids. He's doing fantastic work.
And he's a cancer survivor.
No.
About 10 years ago, Bumblefoot battled cancer, and he won. So he does a lot of work for cancer, especially children who are battling that horrid disease as well. So, you know what? Hats off to Bumblefoot. A plethora of cheers for him. And we thank him for being part of the Spaced Out Radio team moving forward into 2017. He's excited about what we are doing. I talked to him the other day, and he absolutely loves what we do. He loves hearing from the audience. So if you like our bumper music and our intro music from Mr. Bumblefoot, make sure you go on to his Twitter feed or message him on Facebook and just say, hey, I heard your music on Spaced Out Radio. He's a cool dude. He will get back to you. So give him a big thanks for that, because he didn't have to do that, and he has stepped up for us. So let's do that. All right, let's get into the roundtable tonight, as we have a plethora of guests with us, because we're taking it pretty easy tonight. It's our final show of 2017 or 2016. My God, 2017, 2016 already. I think it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. But I was looking back on the year, and I saw a bunch of different topics, and 2016 all around Elizabeth was a tough year for a lot of people. It seemed to have a lot of confrontation around the world, in between people, in personal lives. Liz, why do you think 2016 was absolutely a down year for so many people?
It was supposedly in the astral plane, in the sort of greater macrocosmic universe for the planet Earth. It was supposed to be a year where the gender differences were worked out. So, like, if you're female and you're trying to, really sort of come into your own and come into your own power, you were overcoming a sort of male-dominated society. And there were going to be a lot of conflicts. We knew at the beginning of the year that there were going to be a lot of conflicts between the sort of female energy and male energy, but sort of working itself out so that we would come to more equality. And the year sort of ended in a kind of, because you could see that happen in the bigger world with some of the things that happened in the election with one of the candidates or both candidates. We had a very strong male candidate, a strong female candidate. And, some things were said and some things were done. And there was a lot of back and forth after the election. So part of it was sort of the gender, people kind of coming to a new understanding of gender and gender roles. And it's unclear what's going to happen with that. I guess I'll just put it that way. Yeah.
Eric Cooper, I bring you in. What about 2016? Why do you think it was such a hell year for so many people?
Honestly, I'm the wrong person to answer that one. I really have no idea. Other than everyone keeps talking about the different houses, and I agree with Elizabeth. Astrally, everything was wonky.
James, do you think it was just an ordinary year, or do you think this was a year that people actually took notice of how ridiculously unstable 2016 seemed to be?
It's my own gut feeling this was a normal year. The typical up and down vibrations that everybody's going to get, everyone's through the year. If we look around at natural disasters, it's about normal for any year. Huge terrorist attacks, about a little bit higher than normal, but that's been over the last 6 or 7 years or like that. I think, and as our listener is here, those who are connected to social media may get inundated with a lot of other people's emotions they can jump onto. When we start thinking that we as a minority, how can I say this politely? So a lot of people through social media interact with people of their own belief system, their own energy, their own likes and dislikes, and that may be perceived as the world, quote unquote. And all of my friends or everyone believes this. Well, everyone in your peer group may believe that, but your peer group could exist, solely of 500 people or 5 million people or 10 million people out of how many billions that are on Earth. So the social media connected people, I think you'll hear a lot from them that it was a real down year, but statistically, the years between 1939 and 1945 were pretty crappy.
Yes, they were. I bring in Everett Themer now, paranormal journalist. Do you agree with James that it's just a year that maybe we've just taken notice of in certain groups, or do you think all around it was just a bad year for everyone?
I think statistically it's about average, but I think that just the way things happened, there would be one major worldwide or national problem that everybody kind of focused on the negativity of. And then just as soon as we start to kind of recover from that, there's something else popping up and everybody's focusing on the negativity of that. And it just kind of kept on rolling throughout the year.
I'll bring in Mrs. SOR. Jolene, what do you think of 2016?
Well, 2016 for us hasn't been that bad. It's been okay. I don't know. I think it's more of an awakening maybe happening. People are kind of more aware. But then again, with the social media aspect, everybody can focus on the negativity and bring all the negativity in. Like, for example, all the celebrities that have passed away. Like, everybody's going, oh my God, look who's died and everything. But really, is that just average, or is it because of all the social media stuff going on?
Well, there was 190, and we're going to get into this in a little bit here, but there was 190 plus celebrities that died this year. I think 2016 was an up and down year, and, I know I saw it, that it just never seemed to stabilize for me personally, never mind what I read on social media, but it just seemed like everybody was having just a real roller coaster of a ride, and it didn't matter whether they were following this show or not. It just seemed like it was up and down. But I will say this, it's a good year to meet some good friends, some good people, and, being in a new community where we really got to know a lot of good people this year, so we were pretty thankful for a lot of things that happened in 2016 where we are. Let's move on to question number 2. And Everett, we'll start with you on this one.
Oh.
What was your top paranormal experience for 2016?
Oh boy, that's kind of tough. I think probably my top one was something recently where we just seem to have like fingers tapping on our windows all over the house. It would be like somebody was knocking on our front window, and as soon as you go to look there, it would sound like there was somebody knocking on a back window.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
What time of the day was that happening?
This was late at night, probably around 2, 3 o'clock.
Wow. Enough to wake you up.
No, I was awake.
Well, yeah, you don't sleep.
Yeah.
You don't sleep. Eric Markham from the SOR Space Wire. 2016, what was your best paranormal experience?
I'd say last week when I was in bed with the cats and I heard something go thumping down the hall. Both cats were looking at it, and I thought it was them playing at first, but it wasn't, obviously. And right now my wife's down in Florida, so it's just me in the house. So that was my top one so far.
It wasn't your plethora of guitars doing the Pink Floyd wall walk, was it?
No, I have enough to do that. No, don't know what it was. I've got a video camera set up in the hallway now to see if I can catch anything, but don't know what it was.
Weird. Elizabeth, your top paranormal experience of 2016.
You know, it's not been a weird experience here. I've had some good conversation with spirits and beings, and I think the most interesting to me, it's kind of sad, but we had a guy driving a concrete truck who it tipped over into the arroyo at the far end of town and shut down our road for 6 days because they had to get the semi out of the arroyo. And what was interesting to me was to see the guy standing amidst all the people looking at them removing the truck, going, I wonder what happened. The guy driving the truck didn't know what happened any more than anybody else. So he just stood around for about the 6 days they were cleaning it up with everybody else who was standing around watching them cleaning it up. And there were... to me, that was interesting, that if, something happens like that you could hang around just like everybody else for a while and go, okay, wow, this was unexpected. And then I've had some other conversations with alien friends and family that have to do with aliens that have deepened and changed my relationships, but nothing weird. I have all sorts of protection on the house, and so nothing unexpected really happens in my space at this point. It's just, other things. So, yeah.
Eric Cooper, your most weird or top paranormal experience of 2016?
Oh, top paranormal experience. We live a pretty boring life, so I don't know. No, we went to we had a picnic, or a paranormal picnic with Fog Paranormal back in August, and that was cool because it was at Northern State Mental Hospital, closed down years ago, and that's where we got the fairy picture, the apparition picture. We got an EVP with S.J. and Russ, and that would be the top one. I mean, I could bring up Paracon, but that would be another discussion later on. But yeah, as far as paranormal anomalies and whatnot, I'd say that was the top one for the year.
How about you, James Tyson, and your fabulous beard?
I guess it's not really paranormal, but that I was Paisley. I was taking, and if Paisley's around, I apologize. This card reading course. She was teaching more focus when it comes to reading cards. Anyway, I found that in 2016, not only I was getting better at the card thing, but I didn't need them anymore. I could look at somebody, and I was getting the same information that I was when I was flipping cards over. The trouble with that was I didn't know where I was getting the information from the first few times.
I would say,
so you can imagine talking to somebody and then getting, it's not a whisper in the ear. They're just thoughts that come in about, how they're feeling and what's going on in their life and whether you should bring it up. It's kind of creepy, but I'm getting a handle on it now.
I would say my top experience of 2016, and there weren't many of them this year, but the top one was probably, I'm going to name two. When we found the Bigfoot footprint, myself, Mike Schmidt, my neighbor Tony, as we went out searching for footprints in an area, that was kind of cool. To find an actual footprint, that was 11.5 inches by about 5.5 inches wide. But the other cool one for me happened after Eric and I had interviewed James Fetzer, where we were talking on the phone after the show, and that's where I saw a UFO up in the sky while I'm talking to him. And next thing you know, this UFO, which is flashing in the sky, literally started coming over where I lived. And I kept asking, can you come closer, please? Can you come closer, please? And so that's kind of what happened there. Jolene, how about you?
I think watching little SOR, because he sees things in the door jamb, and it's like, oh, and then you look over there, and I see the blues and purples outlines of something, not sure what.
Well, break down that situation, because that's kind of interesting.
Well, all of a sudden you just start staring over somewhere, and you're kind of like, what the heck are you looking at? Looks like he's trying to communicate with something, and you just look over and you're like, oh, there's kind of a shape standing in the doorway. All I see is the blues and purples, and then I think the other one was after our friend passed, and you were able to communicate with him.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That was kind of weird. So I think those are the two top ones for me this year.
All right, moving on. And, if you have children, I will say this. If you have children, let them open up. Let them explain without any fear of resentment or disbelief that they are seeing what they are seeing. Just listen to their imaginations. 9 times out of 10, it might just be their imagination, but there could be that one time where they're actually seeing something that is really, really cool. So I highly suggest, let your children talk. It doesn't matter how old they are. Just let them talk. Moving on to the next question. Celebrity television, especially in the paranormal. We saw a granddaddy say goodbye in 2016. The television show Ghost Hunters went off the air because their contract with Sci-Fi was not renewed in the United States. And so they are now homeless on television. Everett, I'm going to start with you on this one, being a paranormal journalist. Do you think it was just time for new blood, new material, or do you think that this could lead to something more where maybe paranormal television isn't getting the ratings that it used to, and that it's going to start becoming a dying fad?
I don't think it's going to be a dying fad yet. I think that there are several shows ready to replace it. I think their formula just became the same. Literally every episode of Ghost Hunters was exactly the same as the previous one and the next one, just a different location. I think they started to get a little too silly, a little too focused on other things besides the paranormal, and I think it was just their time to pursue other ventures.
What do you think, Elizabeth? Was this something that it was time to make a change, or do you think that maybe this could be the beginning of the end for paranormal television?
I think paranormal television is going to go through a change of format, and I agree with Everett that they were doing the same thing over and over again. I think you've had an audience that wants the cheap thrill or wants the thrills, but if you look at what's going on online, people are doing more and more UFO contact. They're doing more thoughtful paranormal work, and I think in the next year or two you're going to see a change where you're going to get more thoughtful work and more thoughtful shows, but there may be a little lull in between now and then.
Jolene, what do you think? I know you were a fan of Ghost Hunters.
I was, but you know what? The point that they kept on doing the same thing over and over and over again, and I don't know, you didn't really see what happened with the outcome after. Like, was there something that actually happened after the fact, after the investigators were there? Like, you didn't see a lot of follow-up, so I think maybe it was just a repeat of the same stuff over and over.
I think for me, there was a couple of things that were disappointing, and I'm not picking on the show, but I'm just saying in paranormal television, they take us to all these haunted places that we know are haunted to prove that they are haunted. I think people who are viewing are probably smarter than that. And I think also that it really comes down to the fact that, even though they put on a good programming, they are the granddaddies, I think it could be the fact that maybe, just maybe, that we could be seeing some sort of transition in reality paranormal television, that people want answers. They just don't want to see the same thing over and over again. And when you're not providing any sort of answers, you're not really providing interesting television. Coop, what do you think?
I fully agree. I think they did their service. They did their service in opening up the eyes of the public that there's paranormal out there. And now people want more. And like you said, they didn't do a service in that there was no resolution. There was a lot of fakery that went on. People can see through that. People saw it as entertainment. But it had the twofold in that it opened up people's eyes, which is great. People knew, okay, there is paranormal groups out there. We can get the help we need. And you see that now. And you've seen that in the last 2, 3, 4 years. And then it brought out the other people that wanted to, oh, that looks cool. We can go out there and do our own thing. And that was the downfall of it. Now you're going to see a revelation. You're going to see a change. You're going to see, I think, they want the ratings. The ratings are falling because people are getting tired of seeing the same old thing. And like you said, you can only go to Waverly, so many times. They're beating up a dead horse. And
no pun intended there.
No, not at all. But yeah, they're people are going to want more. Do you remember a show a while back? I don't know if it even went anywhere, but there's supposed to be a show that they're actually going to go deep sea diving and look for haunted locations under the water or something, and I don't think it went anywhere. But you're going to see different. They're looking for something that's going to bring the ratings back up. I don't think it's going to go away. It's going to change.
Eric Markham, your call on this one.
Well, I'd like to see. I would like to actually see the paranormal shows take a more. What pissed me off the most about watching these things is everything happened off camera. Did you see that? How many seasons can you do that before people finally think, yeah, well, why wasn't your camera? I mean, about the 12th, 15th time that the stuff happens off camera, why wasn't a camera aimed in that direction? Why, they had all this gear and none of it ever seemed to be pointed where it needed to be pointed. So I'm hoping that the next one that comes along, they have more of a 360 view, or I don't know, more cameras pointed in different directions, something, because that, oh my God, a full body apparition just appeared to me in that room over there. Yeah, well, where was your camera? You're there to document this, and they failed horribly. Like the never finding Bigfoot people, they fail abominably, and they just keep going. So I'm hoping that somebody comes along and actually points the camera where the action is.
James Tyson from Space Out Weekend, you get the final word on this one.
Well, I think it's like Gilligan's Island. You get to a point where they're never going to find a ghost. Gilligan's Island, you think they're going to get rescued. You hope, but damn it, in the back of your mind, they're still going to be there tomorrow because you're going to be watching it tomorrow. They never show you. How come I can go out on a paranormal investigation and get multiple Class A EVPs, photographs of things floating around, videotapes of things floating around, and these guys, these dolts, go out with a crap load of equipment and access, and I don't want to mention the name of this one television show, Ghost Adventures, but these guys go out and they're complete
Who's
jerks.
that? Who are you talking about?
No, I wasn't going to mention the name Ghost Adventures, but the thing is, like, it's a pain, but here's where I'm going. I'm going to be focusing a lot on this in 2017. And I can't remember which of the guests here said it, there was a time they've exposed life after death to a lot larger community out there. We've got to a point where there's enough people kind of switched on saying, oh, okay, I have more belief in that. Well, you look at the psychics that I've been talking to, and Elizabeth. All of a sudden, their spirit guide has taken a step back and has been replaced by an extraterrestrial. So if we got to a certain percentage of the population now that is becoming more spiritual, understanding more that there is more after death, and now we're taking the next step. So will our television shows go from more of the let's go out and find a ghost to let's go out and see if we can communicate with an ET? Could be. Who knows?
I think one of the things that bugged me a lot about any paranormal show is they always play that really dim background music, and just when they say, just wait, just listen, they always turn up that music, so then you hear the, did you hear that? Did you hear that? And we're like, no, all I heard is your effing music, you idiot. It's like, come on. I'm trying to hear what you're hearing. But anyways, what do you do? Let's move on to the next topic as we have a plethora of topics tonight. Okay, I'll have a little fireball with that. Hold on. No. Oh, that's nice. Anyways.
It's fireball. How can it be nice?
Hey,
oh,
that's
it is
the bottle
nice.
over here.
Oh, well, I actually have a bottle of that, and Mrs. SOR here actually went with the Jack Daniel's cinnamon tonight.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
It's Irish whiskey over here.
Well, you got the beard for it.
I do.
Absolutely. Hey.
It's very cold outside.
Let's get into something here in regards to the cryptid world. And, Coop, we're going to start with you on this one. This year, it really seemed to be the year of Dogman, where Bigfoot has really taken a step back in the cryptid world, and everybody is all about Dogman. Why do you think that is?
I think Bigfoot's had so much exposure, and I don't want to say people are getting bored with Bigfoot, because there's nothing boring about Bigfoot whatsoever. But I think it's a new toy, so to speak. It's something new, and now they're going to beat Dogman to death, and no pun intended. But they're going to beat Dogman. You're going to see a lot more of Dogman in 2017, and not so much Bigfoot. And in 2018, it'll be something different, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about Dogman, to be honest with you. I've got Bigfoot in my backyard, so I'll always stick with Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. And that's just Corey Ruiz running around with a shirt off in your backyard.
It is. I keep telling him to go home. He keeps drinking the Fireball, though.
Oh, that damn Corey Ruiz of Concrete, Washington. I'm only saying this because he has not entered the chat room yet. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. Eric Markham, you and I have talked a little bit about the Dogman. What do you think? Do you think that people are just much like, and we're going to get into demons a little bit more, but do you think much like demons that, Dogman is the hot and happening topic because it's new, even though it's been around for 20 plus years?
Yeah, I kind of like the way Coop put it. Is it's a new toy. I'm still kind of out on that one. I want to see some more research done on the Dogman. I like this idea that they're starting to be seen with Bigfoot or in the same area. Like maybe there's some kind of linked species. I don't know. I guess it's new enough and people are finally taking it serious enough that it became more of a cause celeb this year. I hope to see more real research done on it.
Elizabeth, I would like your take on the Dogman being more popular than Bigfoot in 2016.
Well, I'm with Eric. I don't ever get anything about Dogman. I have Bigfoot friends, and I miss them from Colorado, and I want to go out here and find more Bigfoots to meet and greet and
talk with. But I don't get anything about Dogman. I don't get my guides talking to me about Dogman. It's just not my thing. I think, for some people, it does whatever it does for them. So I'm going to have to abstain from the Dogman. Dire wolf, I'll take one. Please. Yes, please. I'll take a dire wolf. But Dogman, the closest thing I've ever seen was a skinwalker chasing the car. And I don't even think that was a Dogman. I think that was a straight ahead Navajo skinwalker. So I don't have a lot to say.
Everett, you're up next on this one.
I agree with Eric Cooper. I think Bigfoot has been a little bit overexposed, and people are kind of looking for, the new thing to look for. But I also think that most people picture Bigfoot as being out in the woods, kind of in remote areas, where when you say Dogman, people can kind of picture that on the side of the road by a cornfield just outside of town, and more people are looking for it. They're out there staring and wondering, looking, being aware of it, and that's leading them to maybe see it.
James?
Dogman. I'm still on the fence about it. I got some information via our psychic Joanna from her ET guide about what it is. And we're going to be doing follow-up questions on January 21st about Dogman. Her information from her ET was they don't want to call it an experiment gone bad, but it was ET created and went through, they lived to 27 years old. They can't breed, and there's thousands of them across North America and Europe. To me, I've always looked at the description of them as being a bear with mange. It's exactly what a bear with mange looks like, the way people describe it. Unless you draw it like it's going to be in a Marvel comic, that it's evil, looks like a wolf man or something. But to me, Dogman is, just one of many cryptids that need to be, prioritized if you want to go look for them or describe them. But I'd rather go kind of the psychic way on it, get a few psychics independently to see what they can connect to.
I will tell you this. I have become very good friends over the last year and a bit with Linda Godfrey, the lady who broke the story of the Beast of Bray Road in Wisconsin back in 1989. And Linda's a big fan of this show, and her and I have talked privately quite a bit. I believe it's out there. I believe that not as many people who are seeing it or say they're seeing it are truly seeing it. But I will tell you this. I know in British Columbia there are no, as far as I know, recorded Dogman sightings. But earlier this year, Mrs. SOR and I, we went cutting trees down for wood for the winter, which the burnaholic has almost gone right through now.
I'm not a burnaholic.
You're a total burnaholic.
I am not.
Oh, we're not even going to get into that right now.
He wars.
6 cords of wood should have been enough. We're down to 2.5. We're down to 2.5.
And you're just coming into January.
Exactly. Now I'm going to have to go tracking for wood where Dogman and Bigfoot are. Wake up some grizzly with my chainsaw. Anyways.
You got to worry about the grizzly more than Dogman or Bigfoot.
Well, the Bigfoot I'm not worried about. But anyways,
Exactly.
Her and I and the little guy went driving along these forest roads that we're pretty familiar with. And we went on this one that we hadn't been on before. And it was a very thin logging road with like this cathedral of trees that were probably standing 60, 70 feet high. Big trees. And from the time we drove on that road, both her and I started feeling something weird, like we had never felt before.
It was like, let's get in and get out, like, fast, because something's there, you're protected for a little bit, but get out.
Yeah, it was weird. And, with all the experiences Jolene and I have had together, whether it's extraterrestrial, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's ghosts, whether it's UFOs, we've had a lot of feelings as to what is going on. And if anybody has had those feelings, especially on the panel, you'll know what I'm saying by the fact that you start to recognize the energy around that feeling. And her and I, like I said, we've been around everything. But this was totally different. And when we got out of the vehicle the first time to cut down the tree, I had stated to, I kind of talked to the, went out of the vehicle and I said, hey, we're just here to take a dead tree. We're going to take a tree and then we are getting out of here. So we're not here to cause harm to the forest or anything like that. So we bucked the tree. We got it all loaded up on the truck. We then drove down the path probably another half mile. And we got out of the truck because there was another tree we wanted to take. But the energy around that was so much more intense. And it was like something was watching us. And I remember saying to Jolene that, I said, I don't know what dogman energy feels like, but this totally feels like dogman energy, because I'm going through the list of everything that we have seen in the past 5 years or dealt with in the past 5 years, and this felt like nothing I had ever felt before.
I agree, and it was totally like, okay, well, little SOR can stay in the vehicle, because I don't know what that energy was, but it was not a nice feeling.
No.
It was...
No.
Were you guys cutting down dead trees or live ones?
Yes. No, less
Dead.
dead ones.
We have to cut down the dead trees.
The dead trees are the ones that the Canadian government allows you an unlimited cut on them, because those are the ones that when lightning comes down on a forest fire,
Yeah, they'll cause the wildfires.
That's what causes the wildfires, is the dead trees that are still standing. So you're allowed to go up and take as many of the dead trees as possible. Although I believe it's something like a $10,000 or $20,000 fine if you take a live one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you got to shoot it first.
Yeah, we shoot the tree first.
Well, for those of you who haven't been in Canada, that's what we do.
In Canada, eh?
Absolutely.
We shoot our trees, eh?
We should have time for one more topic tonight before we get into it. And I just want to say, I am 4 followers away on Twitter from 7,000. 4 Twitter followers away from 7,000. I want to hit that before New Year's. I got 6 between yesterday and today. May not sound like a lot, but to me it is. I want 4 more. So make sure you push the word out there. I want 7,000.
We should hit that before the show's over.
Well, I hope so.
We should.
Hey, we have time for one more topic, maybe 2 here. And Elizabeth, we're going to start with you on this one. A lot of people in the field of ufology believe that it was a down year for ET and UFO contact. They said that something just seemed to be going on, that there just wasn't as much contact as there was in previous years. Personally, after in the last 5 years, or 4 years, 2011 to 2015, I saw about 130 UFOs. This year I saw 2. 2. Or was it?
Well, they're all here now.
Well, true.
Wi-Fi.
Well, exactly. But Elizabeth, did you notice that with your contact as well, that it was down in 2016?
Well, yeah, but part of it's because I moved. I mean, I had a standing Monday, Tuesday night contact with friends and family, and, for work that I do. And because I moved off the Mesa, that changed to become maybe once a month. But I have seen a few things in the sky that were questionable. That even though I'm in a little town and in a valley, I can still see, we have pretty clear skies. And so there were a couple of things that I saw that I would say, yeah, that's a UFO. That's a UFO. Not as much as up in Colorado, not as obvious, not as intense of, in terms of the activity. So for me, I think it's geographic that I've just moved off of this high mesa in the middle of the wilderness, and it's just not,
it's too obvious if, it can't really have a spaceship come land in my backyard and not have somebody notice it. So
you live in New Mexico. You know how many crashes have been in New Mexico?
Well, that's the other thing that I found out, how many sightings and close sightings are in this town and how many people are contactees or abductees in this town. I didn't know at the beginning of the year people weren't talking to me, and now they're talking to me saying, go talk to this guy, he's been abducted. Go talk to that guy, he's been abducted. And Skeeter was on talking about the boomerang, how she was driving to Madrid and everybody was looking up at the big boomerang UFO that was hovering over the town. And I'm like, oh, well, then I guess this is my town. It was like, but, it's more just kind of finding out through word of mouth versus my own. When I was up on the Mesa, I was doing my own thing with my people. But now I'm in a transition state. So I don't know. I heard there was more toward the end of the year that it was
towards the end of the year. Yes, we did hear that, but from literally January till about September, October, it was like a dead year for a lot of UFO sightings. Coop will bring you in on this one.
Oh no, I've seen. Okay, for anyone listening, go to fathersfiles.com and get the weekly update. If you get the weekly update, you'll see an increase. I've seen, and I said it a few months ago, I saw an increase in abductees coming into Forest Moon Paranormal. Now, I'm not sure if that's because they're coming out and talking about it more, or they're finding our group and talking about it more. And, the abductions have happened. I mean, I know abductees are being taken now, still, today. So, no, I would have to say I've seen an increase more than anything. What's it mean? Not sure. Because we already know they're here. They live among us. They're here in the mountains. And they've been here for thousands of years. As far as sightings, no, I've seen an increase.
How about you, Everett?
Well, I think it's been an up and down year, and you're right. It seems like there was a big lull, but every time you start to think there's a lull, there seems to pop up some report. I mean, last night, Joe and his beautiful mane of hair saw a report or saw a UFO while we were talking. So I think it has had its ups and downs, but I know personally I haven't seen anything this year. Nothing strange in the sky at all this year. So it is a lull, I guess, at least the first of the year.
James, besides your eyebrows, were you looking up in the sky this year at all?
Besides my eyebrows. No, I wasn't. I never do. I'll bump my head. I kind of think it's we're getting to a point now where the things that people have seen were gifts, or you've been allowed to see this. Once you understand, I know what I'm seeing. I do believe that you are there. Thank you for showing me. They're moving on to the next person who doesn't. And now more and more people are kind of tuning into that. So there's where they're kind of focusing, the new groups out there. And either the new groups are, it's like the 40s again. They're afraid to say it out loud, or they've, a couple of them totally are open and understand what they are. So why mention it to anyone? It's like their own personal experience.
Markham.
Yes.
What do you think?
I saw 2 this year, so for me it was a record-breaking year. No, I had a couple sightings this year, so for me, I thought the activity had picked up. But it's been probably God knows how many years since I saw something that I could look at and not come up with a prosaic reason for. So, yeah, for me, it was good.
Well, here's to a 2017 with a plethora of sightings for everyone. How about you? Did you see any UFOs this year, Lambert?
I did not see any UFOs this year, but maybe we've just all become accustomed to seeing things, and it's so normalized now that we don't even think about it. And we see it and our brain goes, oh, okay, we've already seen that, so it's not a big deal anymore.
That's a good point. I'm disappointed. This is like 2 years in a row for me where I feel like I've been shut out a lot.
Have you ever seen an alien?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
Yes.
Okay. You got yours. Move on.
Yeah, but when you have that experience, and you can't answer it, you want it again and again. You do. It's probably like heroin.
It's like an addiction to Dave.
It is an addiction, because you want that to happen, man. You want it to keep going, and you want it to just, continually happen on a regular basis so you can try and figure out what the Sam hell it is you're looking at or seeing in front of you. I know when I had my close encounter with the extraterrestrial, I was chicken to go up to it. I'd go up to it now. Same as the UFO that landed. I would love to have that experience again. I don't know if I will get that opportunity, but I will, hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully. So, it's just something that we need to do. We got to hope for it. You're listening to the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. We do it the final Friday of every single month on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 coming right up with more topics with our panel. We'll be right back.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, News Director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries, so tune in at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report, and let's find out the answers together.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest, from Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Oh, there's only one way to rock. Loud and proud. In high definition. Radio 702 rocks. Las Vegas.
Have you ever had an extraterrestrial experience? One you just couldn't explain? Well, maybe I can help. Hello, I am Samantha Mullet. On the second Tuesday of each month, I will join Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio to bring a human aspect to ET contact. It's something I've lived with my entire life, and I'd love to help you understand. Let's share our experiences. The ET Experience, the second Tuesday of each month, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.wix.com/rivuletrndr.
Every Saturday and Sunday night, as Dave Scott wanders aimlessly in the wilderness, you can come hang out with me, James Tyson, in Spaced Out Weekend. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I'll take you along as we talk with some of the best experts in their fields. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to find us. So sit down, relax, put your feet up. Enjoy the topics like the paranormal, supernatural, intuitiveness, and so much more. Hope to see you there.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium, Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
Do you have a topic or a guest that you'd like to hear on Spaced Out Radio? Let us know at spacedoutradio.com, where you can sign up to become a Space Traveler member today. Or you can find us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on our Facebook page, Spaced Out Radio Show. I know Gloria is liking that song. Coming out of the break, next hour we are going to announce the winner of the final draw of 2016 for the SOR Space Travelers Club. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Stick with us. There will be no shows this weekend on Spaced Out Weekend, as Uncle Jimbo and Elizabeth are taking time off to enjoy the festivities. It's going to be a good time. We've given them the weekend off, but I will be back on Monday night. James West will be joining us talking ET contact that he has had, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time. We want to wish you, all of you, for making 2016 an extremely successful year for Spaced Out Radio. We thank you so much for being a part of it, and especially this past couple of months. I don't know where all of you people have come from, but all the newbies who were listening in and enjoying the show on each and every night, including our trio of Aussies, we really do appreciate you guys tuning on in every single night. If you're listening in on the United Public Radio Network live on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world, thank you for listening to us on Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis. We really do appreciate that. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Do us a favor, head over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell has set the password in the SOR Space Travelers Club for tonight. Labioglosopharyngeal. Labioglosopharyngeal is your password. Make sure you use it wisely in a sentence a plethora of times. Labioglosopharyngia. I don't know what that means, but that is your password for tonight. Remember, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Also use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio if you have a question or something along those lines, a comment. I will get to it ASAP because I am following it live all the time. Follow us on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show, and give our page a like. You can check out our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download this show and others on iTunes. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. As Mrs. SOR cracks open the bottle of Jack once again, Tennessee Fire is her drink of choice tonight. We bring in the panel for Spaced Out Radio. We really appreciate everyone hopping on in tonight. Thank you so much for being with us as we continue the SOR year-end roundtable. It's always good to have you along with us. And I think we are down to one follower. We need one follower for 7,000 on Twitter. Somebody hit us up. Mario, Charles, and Kimberly just did. We need to do this. I want 7,000 so bad. 7,000.
By the end of the show.
You might have called that one. You may have called that one. So appreciate that. You know.
Maybe we
Anyways.
should take bets.
Well,
should we take
no.
bets? No.
No, we're not taking
At the last second, I unfriend him.
Oh, wow.
Heck, we got 7,000? We'll drop one.
I could see James going there.
$500 says you don't make it.
Stay the night at my house again, and you're getting the clippers to the beard. All right, let's move on to our topics tonight. And I want to talk about the 2016 story of the paranormal that you are absolutely sick of. James, we'll start with you on this one.
Okay. Ask me again.
What story of 2016 have you heard enough of and hope goes away?
Oh, my Lord. Not including anything about the election.
Well, you can do that too. That still falls under the conspiracy
It's not
side.
going away. It'll never go away. Jeepers, I really need more time to think about that. I think I'm a bit of a news hound. I kind of bouncing back and forth in a few stories. I really dislike any of the Hollywood ET kind of, not ET, but entertainment news. Yeah, I'm good with everything. I don't think we can turn off what's happening. If I could turn off the election, sure, but it's just not meant to be. And that's it.
How about you, Elizabeth?
Paranormal news or news?
Either or. What story are you sick of?
Well, I really... I'm election. I'm sick of the election. I'm sick of a kind of fake news that everything now is a conspiracy. If somebody says something about someone, well, that's all faked. And I am just so totally sick of what's happened to journalism in our country, that there is now very tiny, itty-bitty amounts of integrity that I just want to puke all over all of it. Because it's just, nobody knows what's real anymore. And it's getting to be dangerous that nobody knows what's real, and nobody cares, and nobody's having integrity in what they say and what they write about. So the whole thing, it needs a revamp. It needs somebody. Yeah, it needs an enema. It needs somebody who cares about truth to come in. Real truth, not conspiracy. Oh yeah, that's a liberal Democrat conspiracy, or that's a Republican conspiracy. No, just truth. Forget the conspiracy. We just need truth. That's all.
That's why I listen to Russian news.
I'm going to give a breaking news Twitter update. Katie Woodward is follower number 7,000. Thank you, everyone.
Give her.
Yeah, we got to give her something.
You know what? I am going to give her something. James, do you got any extra books lying around?
Yes, I do.
Let's send
cost
Katie.
me
Yeah, this my 7,000 followers is going to cost you money.
I know. Really? Katie's probably going to be in like Ecuador, and it's going to cost me $40 to send a book there.
No, believe it or not, this is Bill Cardwell's wife.
Oh, she's going to unfollow you in half an hour.
Well, if that's okay, I got number 7,001 now. So if she backs out, we got one more. So Katie, thank you so much. We're going to send you a book for being follower number 7,000. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate that. Let's get to Everett. What story are you sick of in 2016?
Demons. I'm tired of everybody who's a ghost hunter is now hunting a demon. They hear a bump in the night, and all of a sudden, it's not a ghost, it's a demon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Could I
Can I add to that?
Well, of course you can.
Sure.
Hold on. Is this the beard talking, or is this you?
It is a beard talking. In Forest Moon Grove, my headquarters group, there was a news story that came out from the Vatican saying they need to bring in more exorcists because the demons are just coming out of the woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Now they're going to add fuel to that fire.
Bill Cardwell has updated the SOR Space Travelers. Says his wife, Katie Woodward, is doing a dancing jig that she just won a book from us for being follower number 7,000. Appreciate that.
You're going to read that book.
She is going to read the book.
Oh, it's a good one. No, it's a good one about ETs. It's called the Mojave Incident.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Real story.
Excellent. Thanks, James, for doing that. How about you, Mr. Markham? What do you think? Your story of 2016 that you hope goes away very, very soon.
The EM drive. I am
going to get you to talk up a little bit, buddy.
The EM drive. I mean, it works. It doesn't work. It's going to take us to Mars in 3 days. You know, it's just I'm tired of the that spacecraft propulsion known as the EM drive. It's like a sealed beam. Basically a microwave. If you sealed off a microwave, that's what you'd have. And just the back and forth, you know, they've been screwing with it all year. It either works or it doesn't work. I mean, they've been doing it since 2014. And that's the one I'm tired of. Just either put it to bed or do a proof of concept and send the thing out in space with a probe attached to it.
Jolene,
one or the other.
Jolene, how about yourself?
Definitely the election. We don't have cable here, so there's not much I can watch for news or conspiracy theories, but the election was all over Facebook. And him smearing her, and her smearing him, and blah, blah, blah. It was the election.
You know what it was for me in 2016 was, and it picked my ass a little bit, is how everything was a false flag. The minute something happened, it was a false flag. You know, you have a terrorist attack. There are bad people in this world doing bad things. And the minute, like, the terrorist act in Paris happened, or the terrorist act in Florida happened, immediately everyone was, oh, that's a false flag. You can just tell right off the bat, that's a false flag. Here we go again. You know, I'm tired of that. You know, not everything is a false flag. Have there been in the past? I believe there have. But let's analyze it before we jump to conclusions, people. You know, governments are crooked. We know that. But they're not always crooked. Especially when you know nothing about a foreign country and where things like this are happening. So let's just be a little bit normal with that. All right, moving on here, because that's what got me.
Can I throw a story in there real quick?
Sure, I'd love it.
The one I'm sick of, and well, there's two, and I'm not going to bring up the disclosure, yes, because, disclosure ain't going to happen. But the story that, I haven't heard it in a while, but throughout the year, it was a story about the soldiers in Afghanistan, that they have a picture of them going into a cave because they found alien technology in this cave. And every time I saw that story and all these different groups talking about it and wonky news, news sources, I debunked that one just because when I talk as a military contacts of mine, that particular unit wasn't even in Afghanistan at the time. It was 10th Mountain Division that was supposedly in Afghanistan at the time. Wasn't even there. So how could they have found, extraterrestrial technology in an Afghanistan cave? Didn't happen. But everywhere I turn and everywhere I looked, there's that story. So yeah, that would be the story that freaked me out.
Let's get to the election, because the election was a big story in 2016. But I'm not going to get into the whole Donald Trump thing versus Hillary. I really think that is quite irrelevant, even though we do have a really bad set of hair heading into the White House on January 20th. It's huge. Anyways, I want to get into Hillary's conspiracy for a little bit here. Okay. She cheated. It was absolutely brought out in public that she cheated her way to the Democratic nomination. If any one of us pulled what she did, we would be in prison for a multitude of years, a plethora of years. Okay? A plethora of years. So, here's my issue. Is how the hell did she get away with that? And how is that legal, considering you have Edward Snowden, who is literally being hunted down in Russia and not allowed to come home for treason. Chelsea Manning's in prison for life for doing pretty much the same thing Hillary did. There was the former Joint Chiefs of Staff. He got like a $250,000 fine, dishonorably discharged, and a heck of a lot more for giving away secrets to his lover. And here's Hillary doing all this crooked crap, and she's allowed to run for president. Coop, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Well, the whole Democratic platform is wonky. I mean, come on, they even came out, with Bernie Sanders and apologized for all the corruption that got him knocked out of the whole running, So it's Hillary, but the whole Democratic platform, the whole party is corrupt, and the whole heads. And I can't remember her name, whatever that woman's name was that was in charge of the Democratic platform that stepped down in the end after she'd already, got Bernie knocked out.
Schultz.
But yeah, there you go. Yeah, the whole platform is corrupt. We need to get rid of the two-party platform and go to a three-party. That would just be a drop in the bucket to fix the problem. But yeah, it was a year of corruption. 2016 should go down in history as a year of corruption.
Eric Markham, I would like to hear your opinion on that.
Well, it was I don't know, this is a tough one because neither candidate was very palatable. I had to hold my nose to vote this year. It really came down to, did I, gun or knife? I didn't feel like either candidate really expressed my views, and I kind of felt like I knew one candidate was completely wrong, and I just, it came to, just had to do a gut check and hold my nose and vote the way I did. I'm hoping next go around it'll be a little bit better choice.
Liz, your call on this one.
Oh, I same with Eric. It's like, hold your nose. I didn't end up voting for who I thought I was going to vote for. It didn't matter because my state went Democrat. But I think that when Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when it came out that there had been cheating and there had been collusion, right then and there at the Democratic National Convention in years past, if this had been the 70s or the 60s, there should have been someone stepping in and saying, no, we're not going forward with this. We're going to review and revamp because there's been cheating. And so there's corruption in the Electoral College, that there could, that you could have these electors that would vote for Hillary, even though she had cheated. There's corruption all the way through the system, and you kind of have to figure out who's paying off who or who's doing favors for who. But it should really just be that somebody is policing this system, and obviously no one is. What I got from Spirit when I asked Spirit about it was that Hillary couldn't win because she obviously cheated, and Trump did not cheat in that way. He might have played dirty, he might have had help from the Russians, but he didn't obviously premeditatedly in the same way cheat the way Hillary did. And so she couldn't, that the only sort of balance from Spirit was you can't become president if you cheat.
But you can win a Super Bowl.
But you can win a Super Bowl, right? But you can't become right. You can have a flat football, but you can't become president if you cheat. That's what I heard, and I'm like, okay, well, at least there's some checks and balances energetically, but we really need to take responsibility for our political system, and we aren't, and that's bad. Bad things are going to happen from now on until we do.
Everett, I'm going to give you last word on this because us Canadians are going to stay quiet on this one.
Well, crimes are committed all the time, and people aren't prosecuted. And sometimes it's just the biggest factor is who you know. And Hillary knows a lot of powerful people in office. And whether she won or lost, she still holds some power. There are probably a lot of people afraid to prosecute her.
That might be the case. Let's move on here. I know, James. I know.
Hey, Dave, can I give it a shout-out real quick?
Yeah.
I'd like to give a shout-out. We got two of my Astral team that are listening tonight, and they're actually in the chat room. That's Donna Cunningham and Bonnie. They are in our Astral team for Forest Moon Paranormal. So I'd like to give them a shout-out. Thanks for listening, guys.
Oh, no problem.
Sweet.
Where are they listening?
They're both in the Space Travelers chat room, and they're listening to Spreaker.
And what are their names again?
Donna and Bonnie.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Bonnie's
actually sitting beside me now. So, damn Astral team.
I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Marilyn Wilson in the SOR Space Travelers Club. This is the first show that she has actually been able to make live. Usually, she is listening in on the podcasts that are recorded either on iTunes or YouTube channel. But, we want to give a shout out to her saying thank you for showing up live to the chat room, and I hope you have some fun. And Robert White, all the way from Australia, he's having troubles getting into the Facebook side of things. He is listening, too. He's about to celebrate New Year's. He's from the future. Him and Andy are from the future.
Wow. Hey, let's ask you, how does 2017 look so far?
They're not there yet. They're 17. They're 17 hours ahead. So they're.
Does he know if any more celebrities died?
Yeah.
The sad part about that is I almost fell for that.
Hey, did you guys hear what Charlie Sheen tweeted?
No.
Charlie Sheen tweeted, goodbye 2016, but could you please take one more with you? Take Trump.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, I think I saw that. I saw
oh,
that.
damn.
Ozzy Andy is already half liquored and half in the bag. He's not sure if he's going to make it to midnight in Australia. So that's all right. It's a good time tonight as we're having the SOR Paranormal Roundtable going on here tonight. Much appreciate all of you going everywhere. We're going to get into a topic that everyone seems to hate in the paranormal. And James, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Ghost Adventures.
No, but
we already talked about it.
But damn close. Where the hell did all these demons come from? Pun intended.
Oh. Are we sitting down? No, it's I don't know. You say potato, I say potato. I think it's a lot of times that I've dealt with or talked to people who are seeing everything as a demon. It's a religious belief, and a passage in the Bible telling them that this is Lucifer, this is Satan's trickery, and all these images you see, which we call ghosts, they deem to be demonic tricks of Satan. So therefore, every time you see a ghost, it's a demon. And then the real demons are kind of mixed and mudged in with all of them. So those things that you see maybe sticking out of somebody's back with the body of a monkey and the face of a cat, we'll call that a demon, but we'll also call the ghost in your closet a demon too. Oh, your grandmother came and talked to you after she passed? Oh, that was a demon.
Yeah. Disguised as your grandma.
Yeah, because she was tricking you, and she said she loved you, but that was a trick. It's like, okay, good one.
Really a demon.
And that is an entire show unto itself. So I'm biting my tongue at this point, Dave.
All right, you continue to bite. Let's move on to Everett. Your thoughts? Everything being a demon now.
I think it's partially the ratings factor of all these TV shows. People got tired of them never catching a ghost, so they had to up their game a little bit, and pretty soon everything's a demon. And then they're seeing that, they're hearing that, they want to be scared a little bit more, so pretty soon everything's a demon.
How about you, Markham?
I think it's a marketing ploy. It's way to get the religious right, or the buckle the Bible belt people to watch TV. If you start talking about casting out demons, I mean, you're playing to a specific crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth, are you tired?
Yes.
All right, let me rephrase the question here as I ask you. Are you surprised as we go through demon year, a plethora of demons everywhere? That holy hell hasn't opened up first and foremost. But number two, how many demonologists have popped up out of nowhere? And they've been certified demonologists, I should say, for years.
Oh, they're certified, all right.
Yeah. So one of the things that's annoyed me is that there's a woman that I know of who's a friend of a friend who wrote a book she was a spirit medium, and her mother had schizoaffective disorder. So her mother was schizophrenic, psychotic, and she has the gene for schizophrenia. So she starts off, she's a psychologist, she becomes a spirit medium and a counselor at the same time. But when her disease starts affecting her, she ends up blaming the spirits for, so she blames the spirit she works for wrecking her marriage. She actually out and out blames the spirits for wrecking her marriage, and she tells her guides and her spirit guides to go away, that she doesn't need them anymore. And as soon as she does that, what she starts getting back are these beings that tell her nasty things, that tell her she's hateful, she's ugly, she's sinful, blah, 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 blah. And this proceeds, and this was exactly what happened to her mother, who was schizophrenic. Well, this proceeds to happen for years, and she can't get any relief from it. Well, she doesn't admit herself to the hospital for medication, but she ends up going to a Christian church where they pray over her and she gets some relief. Now, she's not fully recovered, but she gets more and more relief as she goes to the Christian church. And then she ends up writing a book that basically comes out and says, every spirit that you talk to is actually a demon. I know because I went through this. Well, no, what you know is the fact that what I know is that she's in deep denial from being schizophrenic, schizoaffective, schizotypic. And what we end up with is that there's nobody out there saying, okay, yeah, you have symptoms of schizophrenia. Like, we need a checklist. You have schizoaffective something. Or you have just gone to your 7-Eleven and bought yourself some of that wonky weed that's got all sorts of chemicals in it, and then gone and tell your mother that you've seen demons in the yard, and that's why you're having a seizure and frothing at the mouth. There are all sorts of other things that are happening that we don't talk about that are taboo, which is mental illness, 1. 2, all the kids who are going out and getting weird kinds of drugs that make them see demons and behave like they're possessed. And 3, we need to talk about those things and sort them out, as well as, yeah, okay, that's a demon, because they do exist. They're just not everywhere all the time.
There you go. Jolene, what do you think?
Well, I think there is good and bad to everything, and I think people are just so accustomed to see the bad that they're just going to go, oh my God, it's a demon. Really? Is it really a demon? How can you tell?
Well, I mean, it always goes to the point of, you may have a pissed off spirit in the house, but it doesn't mean that it is straight from Beelzebub himself. Isn't that right, Eric Cooper?
That's absolutely right. And like my point was in the chat room, more and more people are getting disgusted, not with religion per se, but organized religion, leaving the church. I think a lot of it comes from large organizations trying to get people back into the church, and they're using demons as a fear factor. Oh my God, everything's in a demon. According to the Bible, everything that's not of God is of the devil. So these aliens you're seeing, these ghosts and spirits you're seeing, and oh my God, don't touch a Ouija board because it's a portal to hell. So, yeah, everything, demons are generally a religious term. So, my opinion, they're using demons as a fear factor to get you back to the church, because more people are turning spiritualist, not religious.
That is a big point. The spiritualism, I think people are tired of mainstream religion, and I think it's sad because I think a lot of people have done a lot of good with their belief in religion, whether it's kicking alcohol or drugs or whether it's finding peace in their lives or getting away from anxiety and depression. But I really believe that, the church has done a lot of good things, but they're their worst enemy as well. And as much as they're trying to keep people there, when you see certain situations, and I'll get a little political here with this for a moment, when you see certain situations where, we have homeless in the streets, and yet they're buying brand new jets or brand new houses, and I know that's more televangelism, but it gets ridiculous.
It's not at all. For example, we had a homeless closet that we ran here in Skagit County. And because we are a pagan organization, we got shunned. And never mind, there's over 100 churches in this county. There's only one church in this whole county that does anything to help the homeless. So you're 100% dead on. The churches don't help the homeless unless you're a part of their congregation. That's basically what it boils down to.
Let's move on a second here as we continue on. The SOR Space Travelers Club membership draw coming up in 30 minutes from now. I wanted to put periods in between everything on that sentence. Dr. Edgar Mitchell died this year, one of the 190 plus celebrities who passed away this year. Of course, he was part of the Apollo missions. He walked on the moon. Very, very brilliant man. He was one of the NASA astronauts that came out and said, yes, aliens are real. Yes, they are here. You know, there are benevolent ones. There are malevolent ones. He started a group called the Free Experiencers Group, which really took off on social media as well. He had a lot of critics as well, saying that people were using his name to advance their own beliefs in what is happening with extraterrestrial contact. Some even called him a disinformationalist. But the fact is, you know, this was a gentleman who went to the moon. He walked on the moon. He told a lot of secrets as a whistleblower in regards to extraterrestrial contact. Everett, I'm going to start with you on this one. In the field of ufology, how important was Dr. Edgar Mitchell?
I think that when you get somebody of that caliber and of his experience, he really can open up, you know, the whole field. And I think that he was important. Whether some of his stuff was disinformation, that's not the point. When you have somebody like him talking about it, it really brings it to the forefront of more mainstream organizations, communities, people who might look at it and go, you know, I think I might have seen something, or maybe this is worth looking into.
And here I thought you would expand a little bit more on there. You were on a roll.
I'm sorry.
Did you get a beard? Did you get a beard hair in your mouth there, or what?
Yeah, he got
no,
beard
not
dyed.
yet.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. How about you, James? Dr. Edgar Mitchell, passing away this year.
I don't know much about the guy. I feel bad that he's dead for his family. But I don't really know much about his life or what he did.
Walked on the moon.
Excellent.
Astronaut.
Yeah. I was very young then. He didn't phone. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Dave.
Okay. I'll let it go this time.
I'll start Googling stuff and then get back to you.
Okay. Elizabeth.
He was, I met him in 1992, and he was a very sincere person. I mean, his whole thing, he's the old type of person who is interested in aliens because of what it means for the Earth. It means, and he had a real noetic experience when he was in space in terms of having this feeling for the Earth and feeling for the fragility of it. And he was completely sincere and completely wanting to spread this message of, you know, we have to get it together and take care of this planet we're on, because it's a gem. It's what sustains us, and there's nothing like it around. You know, if you go up to the moon, that's not living. You go anyplace else in the solar system, it's not living in the way that our Earth is. So it was more than that for him. It was more than aliens. It was a spiritual calling of, you know, we need to evolve to accept that there are other life forms, and we need to evolve that there are life forms on Earth with us. And he was a pretty sincere and nice, genuine person. So I don't think there was much disinformation there. I don't know what people are talking about, but I liked him. It was good.
Eric Markham.
Well, I think even if all he had ever done is walk on the moon, he would have still been a hero to me. But coming back, being one of the founders of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, being out there and bringing this topic of UFOs and how that needs to, you know, the cover-up needs to stop, and just being a vocal proponent of disclosure, I think he was very important. You know, this isn't some bearded crackpot wearing a monk's robe on the corner with a hand-painted sign. This is, you know, a honest-to-God hero, educated man. I mean, my God, he's just not some weirdo off the street. So I think he gave it a certain amount of credibility that no one else could have.
Eric Cooper.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of the old timers that have come out and are going to still come out, we're going to see pass on, and that's unfortunate because where's the future of paranormal, or even the extraterrestrial side, and our experiencers and valid witnesses? We're going to see them move on, and that's going to hurt the field in general because you don't see a whole lot stepping up. But yeah, and in the position he was in, he was a hero. He walked on the moon. I mean, and it came out and talked about what he saw. And to back it up, you actually heard the transmissions from NASA to the shuttle and whatnot, talking about the aliens they saw. So, for the ones that try to discredit him, really, you've got more than just his word. You've got more evidence than that.
I would fully agree with you. I think the way he tried to step up to bring this to the mainstream front, he was also involved in an email previous to the election with John Podesta and Tom DeLonge in regards to stepping up about how disclosure was going to happen of the ET files if Hillary got in. And we're going to get more into John Podesta in a little bit later on this show. But I think he was an important man. And it's amazing how, with everything that he knows, you don't become an astronaut if you're a dummy. And for people to say, and there was people out there who were saying that, that he's off his rocker, that there's no way he saw things like that, or no way he could know anything like that. This man was in the top secret of NASA. He knew. And when the boys would go for beer, they would talk. And they would share their stories. Edgar Mitchell was just the one who had the balls to come on out and say what he saw. So I commend him for that, and Godspeed to him on the other side. Let's move on here in the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. We just talked about Dr. Edgar Mitchell. On December 28th of 2015, if you are a heavy metal music fan, you'll know the band Motorhead lost its singer, Lemmy Kilmister. Little did we know that on December 28th, 2015, that it would start a chain reaction right through celebrities. Didn't matter if they were actors, scientists, athletes, musicians. Over 190 famous people that we'd seen in movies, rock concerts, on television, playing hockey, baseball, boxing, passed away. Some of the names: Carrie Fisher recently, her mother Debbie Reynolds just a day or two after, Muhammad Ali, Glenn Fry, George Michael, Prince, to name a few. Gordie Howe. I'm still a little pissed off that Mr. Hockey has been left off every American list on that, considering what he did in the early stages to bring popularity of hockey to the United States. But that's for another time. The fact is, though, 190 big-name people, very popular to the people behind the scenes. It's amazing how many people of the public died this year, James.
Yeah, it still hasn't hit the 2006 wipeout of celebrity types. 2015, you and I don't know if you remember this, but we had this conversation last year, or was it 2014 going into 2015? Because 2014 was just 10 shy of this one. I think we're pushing, into the hundreds, but the 34 big named ones that passed this year, compared to 20 or 24 in 2014 and 14 last year. But there, 2006 with the big names, it was still at 36. But it's amazing. Every year, it seems like there's a bit of a push. We get hit a lot. Again, as we discussed last year, actually it was last year about the deaths, because we had a plethora of them near the end of the year. But it seems, again, we're kind of pushed where when someone does die, we hear about it a lot quicker than we might have done 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So it affects us a little bit more. And if you look at guys like Lemmy, God bless him, but he's a baby boomer, and it's getting to be that time. I'm still, Ozzy Osbourne and Keith Richards. Yeah.
Oh, Keith Richards has to be the only one laughing here.
Yeah. He doesn't know the joke, but he's laughing.
Oh, absolutely. But let me ask you this, and I want to throw a caveat in this question to you, James, while you're answering. The people who have been dying off the last year or two that are in this baby boomer generation, they were also the cocaine generation. 70s, 80s, where they were doing a lot of blow. Could we be seeing a lot of the remnant effects of all that cocaine usage, and that's why so many of them are dropping like flies, like big names more than ever?
I don't think so, but it is a very good point you bring up. I don't think if they had stopped 15 years ago, if they stopped as a result of a heart attack or a major medical issue caused by stimulant abuse, okay, that major medical issue still continues. Like their heart was damaged, and that eventually could lead to it. Or as a result of your heart being damaged, could have caused a stroke. You look at, we'll use Keith Richards as an example, an opiate addiction. They're back when you could still smoke opium in the town that I grew up in. Not that I'm that old, but these old Chinese guys were smoking opium into their 90s. As long as it was, regulated. They weren't injecting obscure fentanyl into their veins. They were just smoking a bit of opium, primarily so they don't get dope sick. But with the stimulants like meth and cocaine, the cocaine for some people would kill them within a couple of years, and with other people they could use it on the side and then carry on normal life after they stopped. So, yeah, to hook a lot of that to cocaine use in the 70s and 80s, unless there was a physical drawback or a physical breach to their system that hasn't been repaired, it shouldn't carry on that long. Alcohol seems to be a big one too. Like you damage your liver, and it does regenerate, but you got kidney issues, respiratory, and cigarette smoking. That'll knock a couple of weeks off your life right there, and lead to stroke and heart attack.
Let's move on here, and let's get to Eric Markham. A lot of big names. I know you're a huge music buff. A lot of big names in the music industry kicked the bucket in 2016.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you had a nice childhood in the 80s? Ha! Say goodbye. I think a lot of it may be that some of these people did have chronic drug abuse problems. And I mean, nobody wants to speak ill of the dead when they first die. But then you wait a while and it leaks out that, this one had a heroin addiction. This one was still doing copious amounts of blow. And, it was a lifestyle, the whole sex, drugs, rock and roll thing. And as somebody who squandered his youth and is now paying the health consequences, I think there possibly was some holdover from that, because you do damage to your body that doesn't go away. I know from experience.
Out of all the celebrities that passed in 2016, which one will you miss the most?
Probably Edgar Mitchell or, oh God, the other astronaut that just died like a couple weeks ago.
John Glenn.
Yeah, John Glenn. Duh. I kept wanting to say Gordon Cooper, and he was already gone. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, I just, those two probably are my biggies. The man who basically helped eradicate smallpox died this year, too, and almost nobody, including me, knew about it. And I think I'll miss Jerry Doyle. He was an actor in a series called Babylon 5, and he also had a kind of a conservative talk radio program. So, yeah, I've got a handful I'm going to miss.
Mm-hmm. Conservative radio. That's where they wear tight Fruit of the Looms. Elizabeth, your call on this one. Which celebrity that passed away in 2016 will you miss the most?
Oh, you guys are you're gonna boo me, but I love George Michael. I got through so much of the hard part of my life listening to George Michael songs.
He's just a careless whisper away.
He's just a careless whisper. and David Bowie, I
guess we won't wake him up before he goes now.
No, we won't wake him up before he goes. But I liked. I did. That was the time period. He was big. The time period when I first realized I was an abductee, and I would chill out on my train ride into work and school after a hard night, listening to George Michael. So and Edgar Mitchell. But here's the positive thing I'm thinking. I think that we should have a Gordie Howe paranormal hat trick. That we need to decide what the Gordie Howe paranormal hat trick is. Which 3 things do you have to have in order to get a paranormal hat?
You know what? Time out a second. I am actually glad to say, and I am raising my hand right now, I have had a Gordie Howe hat trick.
I know. You
when I play hockey, I had a Gordie Howe hat trick. And for those of you who aren't hockey fans, the Gordie Howe hat trick was a goal, an assist, and a fight in the same game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun.
So,
but let me tell Liz, let me just finish this off here.
Okay.
The irony of the Gordie Howe hat trick was that he never had one himself. How's that to blow your hockey mind?
That's spaced out.
That is totally spaced out. Gordie Howe never had the Gordie Howe hat trick. Okay, go on, Liz.
Well, no, I think, is it that you go out to a paranormal investigation, you get an EVP or a picture of a ghost, a UFO lands in the field next to you, and a Bigfoot gets out. I mean, we have to decide that a Gordie Howe paranormal hat trick is 3 things. Which 3 things is it?
Mm-hmm.
What about camping? What about camping in the forest with Bigfoot around until the UFO scares them away and the paranormal orbs start flying around?
Exactly, something like that. That's a good one.
That would be a movie.
Yeah, that's a Gordie Howe paranormal hat trick. We need that for 2017. Report those to Mike Schmidt.
For the Aussies who are listening and don't know what hockey is, that's a game on ice. Little puck, black puck. It hurts when it hits you. Aussie rules football on ice. There you go. Everett, which celebrity will you miss the most, and do you think cocaine or the drug era of the 60s, 70s, and 80s has taken a toll on that?
I think some of them, it has taken a toll, but I think part of it, too, is that with social media, we're so aware of it. As soon as the autopsy reports are out, everybody's talking about them. So we're just kind of bombarded with all this information, and there's so many different entertainment shows now that just keep repeating the same things with the 24-hour news cycles that it's such an immediate information age that we just keep getting hit with it. As for who I'm going to miss the most, that's tough because you can't think of heavy metal or rock and roll without thinking of Lemmy. But when I'm thinking of Lemmy, I'm not always thinking about John Glenn, and science. So there's a bunch of different people I would miss. I think probably the most would be Lemmy, though.
Mm-hmm.
And George Michael.
I like George Michael. I will support Liz on that. Jolene, how about you?
I will miss Princess Leia. Seriously, I love Star Wars. So, and then I have two thoughts on the subject. Like, either somebody really wants some famous people up there on that side, or is this just a normal thing that happens, and because they're famous, we just happen to notice it more? Like, is this just a natural thing that happens? You know what I'm saying?
Death. Yeah.
Death. It happens, right? But because these people are famous, and for social media, etc., then yes, we notice it more.
I think the social media aspect has a lot to do with it. And I'm just going to cut you off there a second, Everett, because we'll continue this chat right after the break. We're right up against it here. But I think the social media aspect has a lot to do with the deaths and how quickly we're getting that information out. But I don't know, man. This year, it just seems like out of all years, the big names just seem to stick with us. And that one...
got
Prince. Yeah, absolutely. David Bowie.
Yeah.
And
Glenn Fry.
We'll talk about it a little bit more right after this break. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back with the third and final hour of SOR right after this.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where two members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
This is your medium, Joanna, from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 mediums and a large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
Have you checked out the SOR Spacewire at spacedoutradio.com yet?
Every day we post the latest stories regarding the weird, strange, and completely unbelievable. From cryptid and UFO sightings to the conspiracy world, we tackle it all. Hi there, I'm Eric Markham, Space Out Radio's news director for the SOR Space Wire. And if you have a story, I want to hear it. Email me at news@spaceoutradio.com.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Every month on Spaced Out Radio, we look into the deep and dark reports of cryptids roaming around the world with me, Rob Morphy from Cryptopia.us. I would love it if you would join me and host Dave Scott as we delve into the most arcane stories and reports regarding creatures of the unknown. My job is to hunt down the details and bring the evidence forward to you. These aren't your regular Bigfoot stories I'm talking about either. You can find out more about crypto history at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us on Spaced Out Radio? Head to spacedoutradio.com to check out the latest shows, guests, and sponsors. And don't forget to sign up for the Space Travelers Club. You'll find all you need at spacedoutradio.com. Welcome back to the final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you along for tonight's ride. It's our final broadcast of 2016. There will be no Spaced Out Weekend this weekend. Just like last weekend, the holidays have absolutely killed the programming on the weekend from Uncle Jimbo, James Tyson, and Elizabeth Anglin. They will be back on January 7th and 8th. We're going to give them time to recover from a good New Year's festivity tomorrow night. And I want you all to be safe, and Happy New Year from all of us at Spaced Out Radio. We really do appreciate all the love and support you have given us through 2016. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch this thing grow. I will be back on Monday. James West will be calling in. We're going to be talking ET contact that he has had and his incredible stories, personal contact. I love stories like this. So it'll be a fun show, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time of the mighty SOR. If you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember, the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Do us a favor. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. We want to thank everyone listening in the past couple months on United Public Radio Network, live on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Thank you for taking the time to be with us as we are the newbies, the new kids on the block at UPRN. Thank you. Bill Cardwell has set the password for tonight on the SOR Space Travelers Club. Labioglosopharyngeal. Labioglosopharyngeal is your password. Make sure you use it wisely. Don't know what the hell it means. Never do. But it's the password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers. Hey, if you want to follow us on social media, and if you're a social media junkie like I am, do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, at Spaced Out Radio. We're at 7,001 followers. Marty Ressiter, you are 7,002. So we're at 7,002 now. The quest to 8,000 is officially underway. Yes, I'm fist pumping as we go. And if you're on Twitter, like John, like God of Thunder Joe, like Russell, follow us at hashtag Spaced Out Radio as well. We appreciate you guys flowing in to the show as well. On Facebook, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show. Give our page a like. On YouTube, Spaced Out Radio Show. That's where you find our archives, along with on TuneIn and iTunes if you have an account. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Before we bring the panel back in, actually, we'll bring the panel in right now. We are going to do our SOR Space Traveler of the Month for December and the final one of 2016.
Outstanding.
I have pulled the name out of the lucky hat, and I'm excited for this one. Because I don't think there is a more deserving person than this.
Oh, I won? I'd like to thank everybody who voted for me.
It's a beautiful speech. They like you. They really like you.
No, they don't.
Anyways, this final winner of 2016 is, drumroll, Captain Gail Shirk. Captain Gail Shirk is the winner. Way to go, Gail. Way to go, Gail. She is the winner of the December 2016 SOR Space Travelers Club prize pack. It will include a book. It will include an autograph from my dog, Doug, and my other dog, Zero.
Outstanding.
Maybe a stick of chewing gum.
Dave, you should send her some eggnog.
And some snow. Send her some snow.
Fireball.
I'll send her some snow
fireball.
as well. Give her some snow. You know, that's
Perfect.
what we will send. Yes.
So, Dave?
Yes.
How do your listeners become a space traveler so they can get their name in the ticket?
Oh, that's a good question, Eric.
What a great question.
That is a fantastic question. All you have to do to become an SOR space traveler is head to our website, spacedoutradio.com. You click on the SOR Space Travelers Club membership on the homepage of the website. You fill out the application. We have 3 different packages. We try and break it down to make it as cheap as possible for everyone. And it equates to about $5 a month. Just $5. That's less than a Starbucks coffee a month. And if I spoke coffee language, okay, I would be able to tell you what that actually meant in an extra large coffee. But I don't.
Probably a grande, I'm thinking.
What, isn't there one bigger
Triple
than
shot
a grande?
Venti, baby. Venti.
Triple shot venti.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that That is where we are going with this. I tell you, that is where we are going.
So you're asking me to give up a cup of coffee a month?
I am asking you
just the frappe Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande.
What?
I don't know. I don't speak coffee.
Vente.
You know what? I've had maybe 10, 11 cups of coffee my entire life.
And you're
How do
still
you
up.
survive?
Fireball.
I think I had 10 cups of coffee this hour.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I haven't spilled
10
my tea.
cups of coffee a day, I think. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But Captain Gail Shirk, thank you so much for being an SOR Space Travelers Club member. You deserve it. Well done job. Our next draw, you have to be in the SOR Space Travelers Club for the next draw, which will be on Friday, January 27th. Gail, make sure you private message me your address so we can send you a prize pack courtesy of Spaced Out Radio. We much appreciate it. Let's move on in the roundtable here, because that's just a good way to keep things going. Really good way to keep things going. So, right before the break, we were talking about all the celebrity deaths, and I believe, Eric Cooper, you were the final one to speak on this topic.
Yeah, I know I'm going to get booed, but back in the 80s, back in the 90s, growing up, I liked Prince. Purple Rain was an outstanding song. I mean, and so I lost touch of listening to Prince, over the years and get focused on other music and other things. But when I saw he died this year, that kind of hit me. It really did. Because, all the tributes you saw with Purple Rain and whatnot, yeah, I liked Prince. Prince was cool. Now, as far as the question as to why we're seeing so many celebrities die, I agree with Jolene with the social media has a big focus. Humans idolize celebrities. So when one dies, it hits mainstream news like as soon as they die, it seems like. And then you got the autopsy reports and all this and that. Now, as far as why they're dying, well, look at the age we're in. It goes beyond the drug usage and the lifestyle. But like I was saying when we were chatting in between show and on the break, look at the adrenaline factor. When you see these, even the astronauts, you've got their age, but then you got adrenaline. Adrenaline is really hard on the body. And so you got rock stars, you got all the sports, the sports team members and whatnot. Adrenaline, along with drug usage and traveling on the road all the time and whatnot. So I'd say it's a multiple factor as far as why they're dying.
Yeah, I think you're right. The adrenaline side of things takes an effect. There was two people that died this year. A guy named Lee Rariman, who, if you ever watch the TV series American Gladiators, he was Hawk. He was 49 years old, and when he basically died, and they say it's complications due to a hip replacement. The guy's 49 years old. If you looked at him back in the day, he was amazing, fitness. Like, this guy was built like a brick poop house. The guy was amazing. Mm-hmm. What exactly got him to that point? Again, the adrenaline he got, the whatever enhancements he used. And on that note, one of these other wrestlers, China, she died. She wasn't that old. But then again, all through the election, Trump was criticizing her constantly. So she was being blamed for everything from global warming. Hold on. That's the right China, right? Anyway, she was 46.
You're talking about China. You're talking about China the wrestler, right? Yeah, she.
Yeah. She died.
I have her Playboy issue.
That killed her.
I was sad when she died, actually. I like China.
Yeah, she was 46 years old. Again, somebody look at going, oh, man, she's in good shape. And then, boom, gone. So what is it? It's I'm looking at a list right now of the people who died in 2016. The vast majority of them are 79 and older. But every so often, these 46, 57, like Prince, there was a young singer, 22, she passed away. But the rest are all, at that age, you would expect somebody to check out. It's just that time. Morley Schaefer, 84.
Baby
Lee,
boomers.
89.
Who?
Yeah.
Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Erica, Mark, I'm going to get you to move closer to your microphone again.
Okay.
Get up on that ladder.
There you go. There you go. Push a couple of hairs to the side and you'll be fine. Perfect. Just perfect. Anyhow, I will miss Gordie Howe because he is the only one on that list whom I actually met. And I met him a few times. And being around the man when you are Canadian and getting to meet him, you got to realize it would be the equivalent of a lot of American people meeting Muhammad Ali or Arnold Palmer, another one who passed away this year. Muhammad passed away this year. There's a lot of... Up here in Canada, Gordie Howe he's our legend. Even though he played all his hockey years in Detroit and in Hartford, I mean, this is a guy who left home at 14 years old. His parents, couldn't afford skates. He had to tie blades onto his shoes just to be able to skate back in the day on the ponds of Saskatchewan. And, I got to meet him about 6 or 7 times. It was absolutely an amazing aura and an amazing energy to be around a legend like that. So I will miss him. I know if I was standing by him, he probably wouldn't know who I was, but I sure as hell know who he was. So I think that's the biggest name that I will miss out of all the legends and people who passed away in 2016. And I'm still a little upset that I never got to see Motorhead in concert because I would have loved to have seen.
What about the Canadian Prime Minister's father? He passed. Fidel Castro?
Yeah. Fidel Castro, yeah.
Yeah.
Trudeau Castro, yes.
Trudeau Castro.
It is amazing the resemblance there. I'm just going to say
it is crazy spooky.
It is crazy. I mean, if you want to get a Canadian conspiracy going, yeah. Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro, because there was always an alleged rumor that his mother, who I think she slept with Mick Jagger and a couple other wild and crazy celebrities, but there was always a rumor that her and Fidel actually got it on around that same time when Justin was conceived.
Yeah,
so,
and that's where they get the term infidelity. Dun-dun.
Dun-dun-dun. Bad, real bad. Let's move on to another topic here. I'm going to get into psychic predictions. I decided in 2017 I was not going to have a psychic prediction show for a couple of reasons. I think it's a little bit... it's hard to do. It just is hard to do to make it entertaining. And, it's one of those things where, I don't know. It just seems to... We lost Eric Cooper here. I'm going to bring him back on. But it just seems to bring one of those topics of discussion together that either makes people very irate or very, very, suspicious of psychic contact, so on and so forth. So I decided not to do one. And on a personal level, the reason why I didn't do one is because I deal with a lot, and James, you know as well as I do, we deal with a lot of people who are spiritual mediums, the good, the not so good, the ones who talk a good game. We get a lot of psychic mediums who want to come on this show and do readings. And it's just something that we don't really focus on the Spaced Out Radio side, but on the weekends, there's a little bit more of that because James has a very successful show called Two Mediums and a Large. Guess who's the large in that one?
Hey, come on. Joanna's not that big.
Here's the thing that pissed me off Here's the thing that pissed me off in 2016 is how come, and Elizabeth, you're quite intuitive. I'm going to start with you on this one. How come psychics are so good at predicting the negative that is going to happen, yet if you ask them for something good, it is always 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 months away. And when you get to that point, that month that they told you, you have to wait until.
I'm going to be honest with
It
you.
never
because
happens.
Some of the things I told you about, you actually did have an uptick in business and in the show during those months, but it wasn't the one that you wanted. So, good things did happen this year, Mr. Scott, but they weren't the one. There's you have the star on top of the Christmas tree, which represents the thing that you really want. And when and you didn't get that, but you got these other things, got them relatively in the timeline that we talked about. But the other thing is bad things. Part of what spirit guides do is protect us from the bad. They let us know when we're going to have to deal with a problem. So, for example, I did my own projection for the year, and I got that November would be really hard, and I'd have a health issue. Well, it ended up really coming to a head in November, and then I didn't really get it taken care of until this month. And it was scary because it could have been cancer. It's probably not. But I just had severe, life-threatening anemia that I'm working through right now. And I was warned about it 6 months before it happened, and I was warned that I'd have a life-threatening health issue. It's not as bad as all that, which I'm grateful for, but I was warned about it. And that's so that I could take appropriate steps to fix it. So one of the first things that they do is protect. So you do need to know if your car is going to try to kill you. You do need to know if you have a health issue that you want to go into the hospital for. But sometimes the good, we don't necessarily, depending on our psychology, we don't necessarily see the good that comes to us as good because we're looking for another good that's over there in that other field, or that's over there, standing next to that other guy. And we might not recognize it for the good that it is until much later. So that's all I'm going to say about that to you.
Mm-hmm. David?
James?
I concur. What happens is, have you ever, for the listener out there, have you ever been told that a friend comes up and says, I saw that last movie. You should go see it. It's the best movie you've ever seen. You'll never see another movie like that again. And they'll boost your anticipation up through the roof. And you go to the movie and you go, it was okay. But because you came in at such a high expectation, that could have been the best movie you'd ever seen if your friend did not set it up that way. And a lot of times when we have some, let's say, spirit comes through, passes on information to someone through a medium where, yes, you are going to have a successful crop come in. Well, it wasn't the $1 billion bumper crop, but the crop was successful. So it's the position of the person receiving the information to understand that what is good for them doesn't mean it's all going to be gold and silver and you're going to live in a big mansion. It's going to be a comfortable house. And that's what you're going to get. We're thinking, like I always joke around with my Aston Martin DB9. That's what I want for Christmas. Or if anybody out there has one kicking around, send it to me because I want one. Well, I might get an old beater Volkswagen because Spirit says, yeah, you need a car. And that's what you get. So when we say, Dave, I really like this radio show to be successful and reach more people. Look back in 2016 and how many more people we've reached over 2014. You can't say that blow you out of the water.
I'm not saying that in Spaced Out Radio Factor, I'm not saying that 2016 wasn't a very good year for us because it was. We were averaging, when we started the year, we were still on Blog Talk Radio, and we were averaging anywhere between 55 and 75 live listeners a night. Never mind downloads. We had quite a few downloads, but live listeners. And now, with the addition of Revolution Radio, the High Plains Talk Radio Network, United Public Radio Network, what we have accomplished on Spreaker, the downloads, TuneIn, people listening there, iTunes, we're up to 25,000 people an episode plus. And that includes the weekends too. And
really?
Yeah,
wow.
I thought it was just me and Elizabeth.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a lot of people, man. And if we could have, I don't think, James, looking back on it, that we could have done that. So, when it comes to Space Out Radio, we haven't hit our goal yet of where we want to go. But
I think we were told that a while ago, that it's going to take a little bit longer. But if Elizabeth tells me, or Joanna, or one of the other psychics, Skeeter, comes on and says, and I say, what are my finances going to look like next year? And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to buy a yacht and a Learjet, maybe a Citation, who knows, and a place in Hawaii. And she says, oh, it's going to be good. In other words, it'll just be normal. It's like, and it's the receiver, how you kind of set up, some people, I think one of the guys that died this year was a prisoner or a criminal who won $280 million in a Powerball, moved to Florida. Well, I think he died a little while later of drug issues and things like that. But, what do you wish for? Is there going to be something that's going to kill you or something you can't handle? It's like, I'd love to win a Powerball, but it's not in the cards for me.
Neither is your citizenship.
I
know.
Damn.
I know.
Earthlings.
Everett, what do you think? Do you think there's too many psychics there who are too good on the negative and not as good on the positive?
I think it doesn't pay for them to be positive. If they tell you you're going to get a great job and you're going to get $50,000 this year, what happens when that doesn't?
Your phone's cutting out a little bit, Ev. Ev, your phone's cutting out a little bit.
Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. They get a reputation of being inaccurate, but if they go and say, well, you're going to have a rough year and this is going to happen, or you're going to have some problems, if those problems don't occur, they can say, well, you knew about them and the spirits intervened and you were able to change things. So it doesn't really pay for them to really focus on specifics in terms of positivity.
I beg to differ. It always pays if you can be specific to be specific. And I have people who have gotten great jobs at the timeline that I've told them who just love me and they're my clients for years. So that's not quite true, Everett. But I liked that you tried.
It sounds like Liz is about to go psychic Gordie Howe.
She's gonna lay the smack down on me.
Fight!
The gloves are on. Jolene and I had a fight the other day. We went and played a little pond hockey because she got new skates, gloves, and a stick.
Oh yeah, the gloves came off.
And she pissed me off. She pissed me off. So looking at her, I looked at her and I said, I just said, let's go. So I threw my gloves down and she threw her gloves down and, we went at it right at the middle of the lake.
What? You fight or?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won.
Maybe.
You have a black eye.
He does.
I love Defenders. My favorite player is Adam Foote, or he was Adam playing Defenders.
His son just got drafted to the NHL.
No. That's awesome.
In 2016. Yes. Wow. Yes. I am a plethora of useless hockey information.
It's true.
Trust me.
Eric Cooper. Eric Cooper, I'm curious what you think.
I think there's a lot of good psychics out there. But if you look at all the paranormal groups out there, if you look at online in general, there's too many people that claim to be psychics. Everyone thinks they're psychic. I'm not a psychic, one iota. But you got too many people, a whole plethora of people that think they're psychic because they think they're going to make a quick buck. And that's where I stand on it. I've run other tasks within Forest Moon that just didn't pan out because, well, not everyone's a psychic. And if you're not a psychic, you shouldn't try to be one.
Eric Markham.
Yes.
Can you bring your microphone a little bit closer to the beard?
It's there.
There you go. There you go. What do you think in regards to the psychic being able to project the negative rather than the positive?
So I'm almost wondering if the negative doesn't come through stronger. Hang on. Good God. Another specimen just arrived. I'll be right back.
All right. That's why he is our resident scientist on Spaced Out Radio, is because Eric Markham sometimes is in the laboratory working. Not the lavatory. The laboratory working. What do you think, Jolene, in regards to psychics?
I have a couple opinions. So, first of all, as in anything, you can look at it, okay, the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. So you can take the negative or you can take the positive. Me being very positive all the time, I'll take the positive. Hello, my glass is always like half full. It's not half empty. Sometimes you do get the psychics who are completely not psychic, or there's always the human aspect too. Like, as humans, what do we do to screw up a situation that could go totally smooth for us? But what do we do? Does our anxiety or something else kick in that makes it so that this good positive thing doesn't happen? Like, how much do we keep ourselves back from actually having a really good positive thing happen? Like, there's always that human aspect too, right?
True.
So.
Very true. Wise wisdom to our wonderful...
Here, here.
Mrs. SOR. At Mrs. SOR. That's MISSUS SOR on Twitter if you want to follow Miss Positivity here. All right, moving on here. I want to talk about the year where the media was not the message. And there's a couple ways we could go with this. Okay? Let's start off with John Podesta. John Podesta, and we're not getting political here, so nobody have a freak out in the chat rooms that we're getting all political again, because we're not. But we're going to discuss a topic of extraterrestrials. During the election campaign for Hillary, John Podesta was egging on the mainstream media to keep on asking her about disclosure and the UFO files. Not until May, for about a 10-day span in May, did any reporter actually touch that story, even though he was doing it publicly on Twitter, calling out Hillary, calling out reporters, whether it's newspaper, television, and nobody did anything about it. Coop, I'm going to bring you in on this one. What does that say about the media no longer being the message?
Well, the media has lost credibility in general. I mean, most of your mainstream media sources are playing into one side or the other. And I think it has to do with one with ratings and the other with who's telling them what to say. And more and more people are going to alternative sources for news because of that. And, I mean, are they going to be able to fix it? Probably not unless they start calling, going straight and telling the news like it is again.
I find it ironic that Hillary's all of a sudden on the campaign for no more fake news. But,
right.
But that's just another one. Eric Markham, I want to get your take on this because you've heard me bitch and gripe about this actually quite a bit over the last few months. Is the media still the message?
Oh, I think ever since that movie Wag the Dog came out, it put the media in a more or less in a nutshell. It's become... I almost feel like it's become, let's see how outrageous we can make something just to get attention. I think there's so much out there any given day. So much is hitting us on Twitter, Facebook, Yahoo News, all this stuff that they're just coming up with crazy crap just to draw attention, to stand out.
Elizabeth, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I go back to Noam Chomsky, who's been talking about the media for a long time and about how it's used to present a reality that isn't really true. And that's been going on for decades. And usually what we're used to seeing is, somebody in a government manipulating the media to spin a story so they can go have a war they want or, whatever. Well, now we've got all sorts of characters manipulating the media to spin whatever they want. And where reality is, I think we all need to go outside and look for Bigfoot simply so that we are not plugged into this constant stream of BS. Go hug a tree, go walk through the grass, go look at the sky. Because at this point, something's going to happen to humankind if we keep being so plugged into a constant stream of BS. So I don't know if it's the media or if it's just every BSer in the universe has figured out a way to get a platform. But it's tiring.
Jolene, what do you think of the way the media has kind of changed and evolved in regards to telling the truth or just forgetting to tell the full story?
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to be politically correct and maybe just kind of working with whatever. They're not wanting to tell the full story. They're wanting to tell the politically correct story.
That could be true. It could be true, but the fact is the media's job, James, is supposed to call it down the middle, whether it's painful or not. In Canada here, we're lucky to have a company like the CBC who still believes in old school journalism the way it's taught, that you stay neutral, you stay in between the lines, and you don't take a side.
Mm-hmm. It is a little, I guess it's the way it's supposed to happen, but we still have a number of media outlets out here that stick to the old, if it bleeds, it leads. So if we can't spice this up a bit, it's going to get buried or we're not even going to report it. And it's unfortunate. And when you look at what happened in the U.S., and, I think the 2016 presidential election in the U.S. is going to be itself a university course one day. It's the way it can get studied. But if you looked at the way the media reacted to sound bites, if one media outlet focused on something and kind of blew it up and it got a lot of ratings, the other media outlets would run and try to amplify even more on that little thing that the first group blew up. So it's creating momentum over a very, very small issue and spreading that issue and keeping that issue in front of everyone for a long time and making a big deal out of it. In some cases, depending on which candidate said what, the candidate themselves can make a big deal. Like you do something like you really stick their foot in their mouth and go off on it. So it makes it easy for the media to pick up that. But when there are those low moments, they scramble around digging for something that they can blow up. And it's always, always easier to find a negative than a positive. It's like raising a child. Your kid can get your attention quicker throwing a rock through the window in the front room than being all happy and giggly and asking politely. So they'll kind of go to the easiest way to get attention. Yelling, screaming, stomping on your throat when you're asleep. God bless him. And that's what media does. It stomps on your throat while you're sleeping.
At times, yes. At times. Fair or not. I know you and I will have different outlooks on that. But it's two different sets of training, too. Everett, yeah. I bring you in here on this one as a paranormal investigative reporter. What do you think in regards to the media? Is the medium still the message?
Well, the media should never be the message. They should just relate the message. But that also means they get to pick and choose what messages they relate. And they're always going to lean towards something that's going to get them ratings. And in terms of the John Podesta activities, they may look at that as still a little bit of a fringe thing when you have Donald Trump tweets to play with and argue about and, talk about. So they're going to pick what message they send.
True, they're going to pick it, but that's not the job. That's not the job that anybody who became a journalist is there to signed on for. Right? We as journalists have been signed when we took the course. Okay, when I went to broadcasting school, day one, literally, we're in a lecture hall and we are told, number one, your job is to remain unbiased at all times. Do not take any bribes. Do not accept any freebies whatsoever, because the minute you do, you're going down that rabbit hole. That's not the way it is. And number two, never make yourself part of the story if you can help it. We have reporters from CNN passing questions over during debates. We have reporters who are, what's the word I'm looking for? Who are enticing people into violence during the election. We have reporters who are failing to recognize the second potential biggest story in mankind's history with disclosure of the UFO files, and you drop the ball on something like that. That's bad journalism, Everett. That's bad journalism.
It is, but the bottom line is every news outlet out there that's mainstream is a corporation, and they get to pick and choose what they follow up on, what they report on, what they cover. And ultimately, there are so many other topics, whether it be violence, politics, natural disasters. There are so many other topics that are going to get them higher ratings than disclosure. So they're just going to pass it up.
I understand it's all about ratings and what needs to be played, but their job is still to tell the story.
And you're right.
Their job is still to tell the story.
But how do we make them tell the story?
That's the problem. It's too corporate. Media has become way too corporate. And so this leads to part two of this question. And Everett, since we're with you, we'll stay with you on this one. A lot of people, because they have turned off cable news media like CNN, like Fox, they're not listening to national broadcasts anymore like ABC, NBC, CBS. They turned to the alternative media to try and find some sort of dynamic to what the truth is going on. Here's the problem. People, and I'll point out Alex Jones on this one, okay, these so-called alternative media like Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, people like that, decided to create an agenda. That agenda is fear-mongering, Inquirer-type reporting, and it's become ridiculous. They had the ability to become the real voice of the people, to bring journalism back to what it should be, and they blew it. They blew it for fear-mongering, they blew it for sensationalism, and now people don't know where to turn. What is your thoughts on that, Everett?
I think people need to do their own research. There are dozens and dozens and hundreds of alternative media sites out there. People need to search around, use their best judgment. Certainly you're going to find a lot of fake news, a lot of crap. But if you have, an idea that you want to research, you have something you want to learn about, there are the sites out there. And you have to use your own intelligence, your own mind, and go out there and look at some of these alternative news sites and ultimately make your own decision.
How do you make that decision when you don't know who to trust? And that's the problem that people are in right now. They don't know whose message to trust. Right? I have one person, and I know he's in the chat room right now on Spreaker. Okay? He is, I think he's a very good guy, but he is so caught up in the fear-mongering that goes on that I think he scares himself. Right? How do you tell?
I can see that.
How do you tell the difference?
That is hard. I think you have to use your best judgment. That's the only way I can answer that, because there is such a mix of everything has a little bit of truth, but not all of them are as factual and truthful as other sites. So it is tough, and I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Cooper, what do you think about that?
I see it all as a puzzle. Look at your own, go by your gut, do your own research. Like Everett said, I completely agree. And I don't even look at news anymore. We don't even have cable. I look out the window. If I have friends in that area that something's going on, I contact them and say what's going on. And do your own research, just like Everett said. If it fits a piece of the puzzle that you know to be true, then so be it. Fit the pieces of the puzzle. That's how you find the news.
Eric Markham, I don't know if you're with us or if you're still doing some type of
surgery.
Yeah, I'm here.
Prolapse.
No, I've dealt with that one. I don't know. I try and track down news articles for the Space Wire, and I'm just amazed. It's almost bewildering in the amount of different things you can find on any given subject. You can chase it down the rabbit hole just about as far down as you want to go. Eventually, it's just I'm trying to hone my BS detectors so that I don't spend as much time, and I do stuff for the other show with Coop and I's show, E Squared, and just trying to find, get down to the truth, because there is so much just utter BS out there. It's not a wonder that the average person who doesn't have any time off and has to just go with what's on the mainstream becomes lost, or they just, they pick one source because it's convenient.
Well, that's part of the problem. You can't pick one source because there is so much crap out there. If you go to 10 different websites and 6 of them are reporting one thing and 4 of them are saying something completely different, you have to use your judgment and decide what you want to take as fact or what you believe is the probable facts. You can't just pick one website and go, well, they said this, so it must be true.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people realize that, and you have the people like my mom who lives and dies by Fox News, but then you've got other people who live and die by CNN. I mean, it's become to where I don't think people are taking the time to stay informed.
Well, I think that's where spaced out radio listeners are probably smarter, because I think, Dave, you'd agree with it. We encourage people to go out there and do their own research and make up their own mind. And, obviously listen to the show, but don't be afraid to verify the facts or the statements that have been made on the show in other sources.
Okay, but we see it. We see it happen when we have someone, and I've been called out, okay, for my own experiences. I have been called out by people. You take the good, you take the bad, okay? And people have called me out and said, oh, that's never happened to you. That you didn't experience that. That never happens. How can one guy experience so much? I don't know. But I know I have. Okay? But the point that I'm making is the people who have already given up on news, Elizabeth, they're not even believing anything alternative anymore. And they become so jaded, so upset that there is no true information in their mind anymore, that they're just not believing anything.
You mean like me?
Sure.
Like me? Well, okay, so I'll put it this way. What I've been doing, especially since in this past couple of weeks, Donald Trump came out, and I've been looking at the media as if it's now a tool in the art of war. So if you've ever, you want to buy the book, buy the book, The Art of War. I think it's Lao Tzu or somebody old like that. And look and see what story benefits whom in what way, and think about the connections. And most people don't like to think that deeply, so they'll buy whatever they're fed and spout it as true, or if they see so many things along the same line, it'll get their adrenaline up, and it becomes like a kind of addiction to being upset and reading certain sources and listening to certain people, because it gets their adrenaline up, and then they stay in this heightened state of ooh. And these are people who are not familiar with becoming relaxed. They don't meditate. They aren't necessarily thinking of clearing their mind and being in control of their own thoughts. But if you are in control of your own thoughts and you do meditate and you do want to clear yourself out, think about media as if it's a tool in the art of war. And go back and read, like, The Prince by Machiavelli. Because some of the things that we're seeing lately are people using the media as out-and-out corporate, personal, political warfare. That's what the tool is at this point. And even Donald Trump coming out and saying that he's going to favor one military jet company over another military jet. How many people in his organization, or how many people do you think he knew that he was going to come out with that and shorted the stocks of the other one, of the one that he said he wasn't going to favor? Look and see who's going to gain what from what comes out, and then start looking for a pattern to see, who's getting what from promoting a certain idea. Because I am one of those people, I don't know how much of this is true, but people are putting it out there.
She that girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Coop, I'm going to give you a final word on this one.
Okay. What's the question again? I'm right here. I'm very listening.
In regards to the media, the alternative side, where do people turn for their proper information now?
Oh, God. I don't even know how to answer that one either. Again, use your best judgment. And, again, if it makes sense with the situation that's going on around you, then I would stick with that one. Honestly, I don't know how to answer it. Use your best judgment. Use your gut. That's
or use your beard.
Exactly. The beard never lies.
What would the beard do? That's what I want to know. We only got about 3.5 minutes left in tonight's program. James Tyson, I want to bring you back in here.
Okay.
I want to say thank you to you for putting on a great show on the weekends. And you and Elizabeth have really developed into a very, very strong team on Spaced Out Weekend, Saturday and Sunday nights here. And, we're going to be going through a lot of changes over the next little bit. But I want the audience to know that, all the changes that we are going to be doing, we're going to be making more additions to our website. We're going to be pushing hard on the business side. We're going to be pushing hard to take this show mainstream. We're doing it all, but we will remember everybody who helped get us there. And I know, James, you have a bunch of loyal listeners who follow your show that maybe don't follow mine and vice versa, but it really is turning into one giant family, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And just to give everybody a heads up, in 2017, like we used to have 2 mediums and a large every second Sunday, we're going to be joined by Skeeter on the other Sundays, and we're basically having Psychic Sundays, or what I like to say, Psychic Sundays. And Skeeter's going to have her own show coming up in the 14th, I think, or 15th. It might be her first Skeeter show.
And what are you guys going to be talking about?
Skeeter does a lot of things over and above what Joanna does. They both have been connecting to extraterrestrial guides. We do open the phone lines. We do give readings. Skeeter has plugged into things from angels, and she and I have had a long conversation, and I'll keep this short, but it's going to get into the shift and what is coming for mankind in around 2019. Throw that out.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Hilarious. We're all gonna die.
Skeeter is amazing, and to add her to the team of the Spaced Out Radio Mediums, it's amazing. We're gonna have to get a bio from her so we can put that on the website. Bio and a picture. Make sure she gets that to Jolene so that way we can get that up on the website because we want people to know where you are. But you know what? I think the biggest thrill this year, James, as I fire up Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, is the way our audience has taken this show to a new level. Sharing it all over social media, talking about the show. We're very blessed, my friend. We are very blessed.
Oh, yeah. There's some super, super nice people. And also will send me a quick message when I'm not broadcasting, which I really appreciate that, too.
Absolutely.
Turn on your mic, damn it!
Turn on your mic!
Get the T off the keyboard.
I hear that. I've heard that one a couple of times. Look for bigger and better things in 2016. In 2017, as we come back out of 2016, we are finishing up our final broadcast of this year. It's been a lot of fun, people. I really appreciate that. Remember, no Spaced Out Weekend this weekend. They will be back, Elizabeth and James, on January 7th and 8th. I am back in the hot seat on the 2nd. James West will be with me. ET Contact. We got 2 full months already booked. 9 weeks we are booked ahead right now. It's kind of cool. Thank you, Eric Markham, for that. I appreciate your help with the booking. But you know what? This show is about you, the listener. And I want to say thank you for taking your time to spend it with us. Your time is valuable. And the fact that each and every one of you listeners decides to spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes a night to be with us, that is pretty awesome. You know, it's very humbling and it's very awesome for the entire team. So on behalf of Jolene, James, Elizabeth, Eric Markham, Eric Cooper, Everett Thiemer, Paisley, Joanna, Skeeter, Robert Rose, Pacific North Weird, and Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, I am your host, Dave Scott. And I'm saying thank you so much for an awesome 2016 and falling in love with this show, falling in love with what we do, because we love what you guys are doing. And I appreciate the networks that have taken us up. And yeah, we're going to end this love in. Have a safe and happy New Year. I want to see you all back here on 2017. Much love. Stay real, stay good, and tomorrow night, do me a favor. Have a drink on me.
Fireball.
Fireball!
Woohoo!
Let's rock it out. Have a good one, people.